necessarily outside of, I think that, the future is here. It's just not widely distributed yet. And we need to be early adopters as entrepreneurs. Like we are always on the cutting edge.
Today, I'm talking with my friend Austin Distel. Austin is the author of Subscription Secrets, the fast track to subscription economy and finding your first 1,000 raving fans. He's also the CMO of Proof, and more exciting, the revolutionary new software Jarvis. Jarvis is one of the most exciting pieces of technology I've seen in quite a while. Imagine writing copy 2 times to 5 times faster using artificial intelligence. Now, I've had my hands on the software, and I got to tell you, it's quite the experience. And it might not make sense to you what we're talking about until you actually get hands-on, but I promise you, you're going to love it. It's going to change the way you do everything. My mind was blown. More information and links in the bio. Now let's get started with the show. Welcome to the Entrepreneur's Hierarchy of Needs podcast. My name is Tim Palladino, and this is the show for entrepreneurs who want a higher value life and business. Today, we are going to be talking about the future of copywriting. It is a very daunting task, even though there's formulas and time-tested ways to do these things. And that made it easier. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's about to be so much easier once you're finished listening to this. I have a good friend and a respected colleague with me, Austin Distel. Austin, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. Let's talk about the entrepreneur hierarchy of needs.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this is one of them. This gives you the ability to to spend less time having high value results so you can go spend more time doing the things you want in your life, right? I'd rather be paddleboarding than writing copy. And this allows me to do that. So let's go ahead and talk about it. We're going to be talking about Jarvis AI. You know what? Why don't you go ahead and explain it so I don't butcher it?
Yeah. So I like to think about Jarvis as my assistant, and my assistant's really good at writing copy and content. So, for me personally, I don't like writing blog posts. I would way rather just turn on the mic and just kind of talk about the topic on hand. Whereas what Jarvis knows, imagine that your assistant is actually really smart and has read 10% of the entire internet. And so it can reference like all of these blog posts, tweets, public publications, news articles up until 2019, and has memorized all of that, and then creates unique, totally original creative content. And so it's not like copying and pasting from any specific source, but rather creating each sentence word by word, so it's totally original. And then you can also add spin to it, like a tone of voice. You can make it optimized for SEO. If you're trying to rank your blog post for specific keywords, we have the ability to say, hey, Jarvis, I really want to focus on this topic, this topic, this topic. Make sure that you include these words, and it'll kind of lean on that. And so I really think about Jarvis as your friendly AI copywriting assistant.
Yeah, I love that. And I really love the addition of the tone of voice, because I think that's what a lot of, I'm going to say, amateur copywriters, they miss out on. They could understand the formula, but they miss out on the tone of voice. It could really send the wrong message to your clients. So it's such an important addition to what you guys have been working on.
Well, it's especially hard when, let's say that you're a freelance writer or have a marketing agency and you have like 5 different clients with totally different tones of voices. How do you, and let's say you've hired a team, so you're even further disconnected. How do you relay the client's tone to the end writer's tone? And, these days the world's global. It's a good chance that your writer is in the Philippines or India or some other random place. And so kind of getting a consistent tone of voice can be hard. And so some of the tricks of the trade I like to do is I try and match the tone of voice of my client to a famous person. So let's say that you wanted to do like more of an aggressive salesy tone of voice, you could do something like Grant Cardone or Russell Brunson or Gary Vaynerchuk. Let's say that you wanted to do a more witty or funny tone of voice. You could do something like a Jim Carrey or Trevor Noah, or you could just use adjectives, and you could be like, use the tone of voice of suspenseful or clever, or educational or professional. Like there's so many different tones of voices depending on what your brand or whatever that document requires. So I'm finding just so many different use cases, and people are writing creative stories. They're writing, nonfiction books. They're writing, long articles like how-tos. They're doing recipes for cooking.
That's cool.
There's literally so many different use cases here, but imagine like if you wanted just you had a writing team that could write any topic. They can go out and now use Jarvis to do about 2 to 5 times faster, and kind of break through that writer's block so you can get that first draft out the door fast. And of course, you'll need to do a little review and editing and like massage it, to make it there, do some fact checking. But it passes plagiarism tests about 99% of the time. And that 1% of the time is often just common phrases. Sure. So I still recommend that you go and do it as your own due diligence. As a published writer, you should do that. But that's the gist of it, man.
Yeah. So just to be clear, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is a tool, right? And we still need, it's something that we need to use and respect that it's a tool and it's not a multi-tool. Like it does what it does really well, but the human element still has to be there. Someone's got to swing the hammer, right? Is that correct?
That's right. So I kind of think about it, kind of running with the assistant analogy is like an assistant's only as good as the boss. Mm-hmm. So if your instructions to your assistant are very poor, the outcome is probably going to be pretty poor.
Yeah.
You also have to give it a little bit of like leniency on facts, because it is not designed to be your research tool. It is designed to be a creative copywriting tool that has its ability to, pull from all the sources of the internet, which like not all sources are correct. And then also it's, here to be a creative writer. And so this isn't to be like, don't write your dissertation for your doctorate degree with this thing. But, if you're looking to, crank out a lot of social media content, creative tweets, post for long form story posts on LinkedIn, or even your own book. Like I wrote my book here, I actually have it with me, is Subscription Secrets. And about 60% of it's written by Jarvis and 40% is written by me. And so I kind of outlined what I wanted the book to help a person escape from and arrive to by the end of the book, in a series of about 8 chapters. And I embedded my own personal stories. And then I'm like, well, I really want to include, for example, the story of Netflix. What was the origin story of the founders? And I want to create it in kind of this dramatic, theatrical storyline. And so I had Jarvis write that. And I'm like, hey, I give Jarvis a command. So I type in, Jarvis, write me a paragraph about the origin story of Netflix. And then within 1-2 seconds, it's written out a totally original creative story based upon what it's read on the internet, and in the tone of voice using the keywords I asked it to.
Yeah, it's really amazing. I have a lot of fun with the creative writing tool. I think it's the story. Oh, I can't remember exactly what it is.
Creative story template.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I keep on going in there and just feeding it new elements, and the way it expands on them so well. Yeah. It really, really blows my mind. Because when I first, and I'm sure a lot of people are like this, when they first hear AI writing tool, there's a major resistance because it's so new, right? Like naturally our minds as mammals can only handle about like 30% something new, before it rejects it. And I was one of those people. At first, it was like I was for it, obviously, but my body was like still asking me all these like worrisome questions, like what's going on here? How could it be so good? And then once I got my hand on it, not only is it an amazing, well thought out and produced tool that you guys have created, it's fun. It's now fun to write ads. It
Yeah.
saved me so much time, so much money, and it actually has brought a lot of joy to my process.
Yeah, Tim, I don't believe you would call yourself a professional content creator or copywriter
Yeah,
by
definitely not.
trade,
Yeah,
this, but, you felt that resistance even as an entrepreneur. Yet
yeah.
imagine, now there's professional freelance writers, ghost writers, authors, copywriters, direct response marketers, all that are tied up in their identity being a writer. And so, yeah, there's going to be pushback of people that are like, you're trying to replace humans, to do my job. And I'm like, dude, if you realized that a typewriter is your tool,
Yeah.
so is your Jarvis AI copywriting assistant. It's not here to replace you. It's here to make you a superhuman and allow you to give yourself a promotion from junior copywriter who's going to just get the first draft out the door to now you're editor in chief. And now you are giving the directions. You're the head honcho here, giving direction to your assistant on here's what you should be writing about. Here's the content I need in this order. I want it to be ranking for SEO with this. I want it to have this brand's tone of voice. And you still have to give the direction like, hey, at this point in the storyline, we need to have a climax.
Mm.
We do a conclusion at the end. Like Jarvis isn't going to know, like at the end of a blog post, do a conclusion. Like you need to go out and say, now's the time for the conclusion. And so it still requires so much direction. And a good blog post comes, and I'm using blog posts because that's the easiest example here to relate with. But like, there are a series of events that have to happen in a certain order. And it takes the mind of a human to understand the output desired by the client or by yourself. So it's not here to replace you. It's here to amplify what you can do in your short amount of day. And, as every good entrepreneur or really just like efficient human should be thinking about is how can I get the most amount done in the least amount of time and with the highest quality output possible.
Right.
So, what we're really focused on right now this month is we created a Jarvis certification.
Yes, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so that you can get educated on the best practices so that you can give Jarvis the directions to produce the highest quality output. And when you hire somebody in the future, they will probably have this badge, and that they're using this tool in the same way that they probably have a HubSpot certification or a Salesforce certification. Now they have this too, and Hemingway app has been around where it shows you like. How to write with a level of education that comes across as easy to read yet still professional. You probably use Grammarly. Like, is that replacing you? Like,
right.
It's an editor's best assistant, right? And so that's the same thing that we're going for here, and that's why we really push like this is your assistant. It's your AI copywriting assistant.
Yeah. So you mentioned the certification. So on top of the certification, I think that's for a company like this style of company, I think a certification is so important because it's such a powerful tool where you can really harness the power with a concise certification. But one of the other things that it's like a gold standard from this. I'm judgy when it comes to businesses. And one of the things I judge businesses on that you guys are knocking out of the park is support. The way that you interact with your community and you support them. If they have a question, you guys are like swarming. You're ready to answer. Like, let's get this done. And if there isn't an answer, which I haven't seen, you guys are looking to continuously learn and build from the community. And this isn't just from my perspective, of course, this isn't just people make software, sell it to other people, to users, as they say, right? Which is the weirdest term ever for, for a customer. But like it's kind of built with each other.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something beautiful.
Certainly the product has been built by the people for the people.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a catchphrase. Literally, that is how we build product. And I actually talk about it in my book, like how do you create an MVP, which is called a minimal viable product. Rather than coming up with it yourself, ask like 30 people, what do you want? Yeah. What would it solve, the at least like baseline problem that you have? And, back in January 1st of 2021, when we launched, we, I think, started with just 5 templates that were really focused on writing social media content. So like, it was like Facebook ads content, like, paid traffic content. Like, we fed Jarvis all of these examples of our highest performing Facebook ads. And then also our friends at Digital Marketer and other places, like, here's Jarvis. Hey, here's what good behavior looks like. These all convert super high, figure out the formula. And so Jarvis has already been learning what like human language looks like.
Yeah.
And then we, as the company, give it these rules of, a tweet is 160 characters or 240 now. And then, here's what a really good blog post intro paragraph looks like. Here's where our highest performing email subject lines. And so now you can go, hey, Jarvis, the name of my company is X. The topic is Y. And I need a tone of voice of this. So you could do something like, for example, new episode of the Entrepreneur Hierarchy of Needs. The tone of voice is excited, and I'm looking for a email subject line. And then it just automatically creates 5 variations for you to use. That was the very beginning. And we started with just 5 templates that we thought our direct response copywriters and our small little Facebook group would like. And then they started asking for everything else they wanted. For example, like Darby has I think he was on the show, right?
Oh, yep.
Yeah. So Darby asked, hey, I have this standard operating procedure I use for all of my Amazon copywriting clients. And, he's one of the top Amazon copywriters out there, right? Like number 1 on freelance or Upwork or something like that.
I think it was Upwork. Yeah.
Upwork. And so he's like got a freaking system down.
Yeah.
And so we're like, oh, maybe we could teach Jarvis your system, give us, a handful of your highest performing Amazon listings. And, let's figure out what are all the pieces required to do this right. And so we work with him, and within just a couple weeks, we were able to have a series of templates that create a super high performing Amazon listing. And so it is based off what Darby has been able to figure out over the course of his years.
Yeah.
And so now he actually has his team use Jarvis to create high quality Amazon listings for his clients.
Yeah. And that's so important that the human element has started it, and then the human element is what wields it. I think people are going to be less and less intimidated by AI once they get a better understanding, like how it's created. It's not just out of thin air, artificial intelligence.
Well, in this past update, this last week, we announced recipes, and
that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, man. So just how I kind of shared that Darby story of like, we had to work so closely with him to teach Jarvis. Now with recipes, it's kind of like you're jumping over us and you're going straight to the AI and you're giving it directions. So a series of instructions, and it will execute step 1, step 2, step 3. And so Darby could now actually create these templates for his own Amazon listing. So we call that a recipe. It's a series of instructions, like you need, a dash of olive juice, and you need, a cup of water or whatever. Like that's kind of how we think about now the way you would talk to Jarvis. You are the boss. So we call it boss mode is the plan.
Yep.
And on
Yep.
boss mode, you're the boss and you're telling your assistant, here's your series of instructions. This is where it gets crazy. Now we've allowed it where you can actually create these, save them, and share them. So now the community is starting to build this huge library of ways that they're using Jarvis on their own. We don't have to like approve them. Like anybody can do this. And so we're starting to find like we have this one very famous coach in the real estate ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
He has tens of thousands of real estate agents paying him monthly to be in his membership. And he's creating recipes right now for his agents and he's going to share it with him in his community. And so you really think about the ecosystem building right now is people are using it in a variety of industries. And now Darby is helping people. Darby and Zachariah are helping people write books with their new Jarvis recipe. And I think over 100 people have gone through the program now.
Yeah. Yeah. Really quickly.
Yeah.
And it's a solid program. It's funny when you're proud of your friends. Like when you're like, what is this, man? This is really... So, it's kind of important to be proud of your friends too. So if you're not, level up your friends. It's really good. The angle that you're taking with all this and what you just said that kind of like sparked, because I'm always considering, because this is a new chapter in my life, right? So I'm always considering what kind of products and services can I produce that are unlike maybe other people's, that aren't cliche or have been done a million times. And this is something, as a coach, from my perspective, I can create these things to kind of echo out. I can say like, these are my rules and standards for how I write, because I'm going to be bringing in. So we offer the PODS program, which is the Proactive Ongoing Discipline System. This is a coaching program, but I can only handle so many people. It's very, very high touch, but I can only help so many people. So I'm trying to get more coaches in to be certified in this. And this is going to be instrumental in me expanding in that. And if you're anyone, this is an outlet to a new product, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt, man. And so, you're a man of SOPs, standard operating procedures, playbooks, right?
Yeah.
I think that was what was missing from Jarvis for, a bit, for users to be able to like create an SOP. So I think it's probably the most exciting update we've had, and it came through a series of acquisitions, to get here. But like Jarvis is at a really cool point now, man. And it's beginning to kind of take a mind of its own. I mean, literally, like, yes, like the community is also like growing it. So like it's really like getting better every day. But now, like fucking what Jarvis says sometimes is kind of crazy. Like it'll like disobey, or it'll like it'll like make jokes at you.
Oh, that's funny.
It's so weird. I mean, dude, we created like over 1 billion words now, like the user base has. So it's not like this isn't like a common thing. But man, when it happens, like somebody will post like, Jarvis just said this, guys, like I'm scared. And they'll post that in the Facebook group. And it's like, whoa.
Oh, that is funny. That is really funny. Is there any like sneak peeks you can give us for what might be coming down the pike?
So we're going to be building like a deeper ecosystem here of like within like an internal community. We have a huge Facebook group, but it can kind of get messy in Facebook groups, right?
Sure.
And often it's like within a few degrees of separation from your actual product. So people are always like giving how they rank their local company on Google My Business using Jarvis, or here's Sean Vossler's like video sales letter script. So there's like a lot of like great resources in the Facebook group. But we want to keep like, hey, if you want to just like import the best templates into your account, like where do you go and find those? So, we've created a new academy, and we call it a university. where we hired like an actor to do like a series of very short, punchy, funny, very helpful videos, like in a sequence that like tie together from like get you from A to B in an hour and a half or whatever. So that was good. We built and none of this is actually like live yet. So it'll be maybe by the time this podcast gets out there, but like there'll be like an internal social media actually within Jarvis. That's
very
like,
cool.
Yeah. So that people can actually have conversations about templates, like with kind of commentary there, and
like a Discord.
Like a Discord within Jarvis, but related to the actual product itself. So you can share these templates. You could share Darby's, perfect book outline recipe and have a conversation with the author Darby on that template. You can see how many times it's been downloaded. You can, just a lot of ecosystem stuff there. Now that you have the certification, and then creating like a job board. So there's like we have
that's great,
tens of thousands of customers now, and so we're trying to figure out like how do we help them actually get like the end result they want, which is they want to have a thriving company writing. And so, if you are a company looking to hire an SEO agency or copywriters or freelance writers, you can probably find them now, really good ones in the Jarvis ecosystem. So trying to figure out how do we best set people up for success there, make them findable, what's your budget, what's the country, language. I think we support 26 languages.
It's amazing.
So, if you are in the Netherlands, but you're looking to open up the Spanish market, you could actually hire somebody to write with, using Jarvis, a blog post about real estate in Spanish. So like what a niche, and series of like very minutia. We want to be the best at that though. And we know that our users are the best at that. We just have to give them the ecosystem to get paid.
Yeah, it's really fascinating what you're saying. That kind of opened up a door in my mind of like a lot of people are expats now. People are moving out of Dodge, a lot of people are leaving New York, leaving California, and going to places like Tulum or whatever, where there may be another language that's prevalent. And they need things written in that language because it's not just one-to-one translation. It's not a translation of a word. To be able to put a story together or something meaningful in another language is totally different. You need a recipe, for lack of a better term. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal because now the best of the best can work anywhere. And that can increase wherever they're working. Now there's more money in that economy, and it opens up a lot of really cool options for people.
Yeah, no doubt, man. It's pretty cool to see how international it is.
Yeah, the world is flat. The world is flat, and it's getting flatter. It's and I like it that way. I think it's pretty cool. Any last minute thoughts? Anything you want to leave anybody with?
No, not necessarily outside of, I think that, the future is here. It's just not widely distributed yet. And we need to be early adopters as entrepreneurs. Like we are always on the cutting edge. And that's exciting that, today, like when we talk about either cryptocurrencies or artificial intelligence or, renewable energy, like these are the newest topics, and it's going to take a brave soul and a tenacity to enter the future. And so I would recommend, going full all in, figuring it out. Going into a world that's undiscovered yet is exciting. So just take the bull by the horns.
Brave new world, man. It's a brave new world. Austin, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with me today and share this with our listeners. I just can't wait for people to hear this if they haven't heard it already, because it really is a game changer, and I'm proud that it's made in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool, man. Well, looking forward to seeing you soon.
Yes, sir. I'll talk to you. Thank you again for joining us. And if you like what we're doing with the entrepreneurial hierarchy of needs and want to show your support, the best way to show some love is to subscribe and leave us an honest review. We also have a Facebook group where we continue these types of conversations and so much more for all of our continued growth. I can't wait to see you in there.